Good day to you, Steelers fans. This is the SCB Steelers Podcast presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And this Pittsburgh Steelers wrapped up mini camp, the mandatory mini camp, which means there's about 6 weeks now between that period and the training camp period. And as if you're a longtime listener to this program, then you know this is the scariest 6 weeks in the entire season, because God knows what these guys are going to be up to, and we don't want to hear them discussed at all, because if they are, it likely means they've done something stupid. Thank you, Ben. Joining me are Ben, and Scarps is back, and Ian may be joining us at some point. One of his brood is still awake, and I don't think they're vomiting anymore, which is good. I think they've
progress.
I think they've passed that by. But anyway, welcome in. Great to have everybody back, and continue to listen, share what you think about the show on YouTube or whatever platform you listen to or watch us on. We definitely appreciate it. But, we're getting into the summer months when there isn't as much to talk about, but there is some stuff tonight, and that's what we're going to do. So first and foremost, the mini camp ended. And look, to me, the biggest news is that there is no news about injuries.
Yeah.
That you always want to come out. It's like, oh, we want to get the offense installed and we want to do that. No, I want no injuries.
You're not going to install it in mini
Well,
camp.
of course not. They start the process. But
we should talk about those giant helmets they were wearing.
They were wearing the Guardian helmets. These have become very synonymous now with concussion prevention and stuff. Teams across the country wearing them in practices and stuff. They kind of look like the Great Gazoo. Remember the Great Gazoo?
Yeah.
From the Flintstones?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, they kind of looked like that a little bit, little body, massive heads. Tomlin even walking around with one on. He give it up for Coach, man. He fitting the part there for sure. But enough of me talking. By the way, Scarps is wearing his Oakland A's ball cap tonight, and he was telling us before we started recording that he got that and wanted to make sure he gave a shout out to the equipment manager of the Oakland A's because it's he who gave it to him when the Steelers played out there before, right?
Yeah, at the time. I don't know if he's in. I never even got his name. I like that. Yeah, I don't need to know names. Just throw me a freebie, and we'll go on with our lives. Did you know Gazoo was actually on the Jetsons as well? So we're all right. He was on both shows.
He was. I totally forgot that. That's a great piece of trivia.
But yeah, they look pretty. I mean, it was. How do you not like? And I get what I totally get it. I get it. Yeah, I get it. But they looked pretty ridiculous, but such is life, as Tomlin would say. It's 2022,
right?
Yeah.
Let's just get. We've talked about it a lot, but I don't care because we're going to keep talking about it all summer long. But the quarterback situation. I mean, somebody made a good point in one of our comments on the YouTube thing about do you trust putting Kenny Pickett in behind this offensive line right off the bat? And I thought it was a good question. Ben, how would you answer that?
No, I it's not a question of trust in terms of Pickett. It's trust in the line. And
sure.
That line needs to prove itself first.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously they've added a couple of pieces, and they've moved Kendrick Green from center to guard, supposedly. Obviously he can still probably play center in a pinch, but they don't want him there. And after watching him play last year, I don't blame him. That line's got to prove itself and that become a more viable situation. I think I'd rather have a guy who's got some more experience behind a line like that in order to basically give yourself a better chance of being successful. That's all. I mean, just a guy who's managed situations behind lines that weren't necessarily outstanding and been there, done that kind of a thing. So that's why one of the reasons I think you start Trubisky. I think ideally you want Pickett to watch and learn for a little while, and in doing so, get better.
When you say watch and learn, there's typically two trains of thought when it comes to that, quarterbacks and even at the collegiate level. Some believe that you throw him into the fire. You do what you did with Peyton Manning. He goes and throws 28 picks his first year. It didn't discourage him. He came back. He had a Hall of Fame career. Other guys, no. We need you to sit. We need you to watch. Ryan.
Okay, well,
Ben, go ahead.
Kenny Pickett doesn't have all of Peyton Manning's natural gifts. Okay.
No, you do have to look at it on a case-by-case basis.
And Manning was a very smart guy as well,
yeah.
But he had the big arm. He could do things that Pickett cannot do. So I don't think that's an apples to apples comparison.
Right.
I think if you've got a guy like a Josh Allen who needs to play to get better, to figure out the mental side of it, then you stick him in. A guy like Pickett who's already pretty bright, I don't agree with that philosophy.
Okay. Ryan, go ahead.
I'm going to change the talk. Not to change the talk.
Just on that particular thing, though, is it a case-by-case basis? Because I wasn't comparing Pickett and Manning by any stretch.
Yeah,
what I'm just simply saying is you have that.
The thing about it is that this is the first time in years that the Steelers probably are leaning towards Mitch as the starter, but it's not Ben, right?
Right.
You got Mason, who's been here that we don't know. You got Mitch, who's brand new, and then you got Kenny, who's brand new. And I really do think that the Steelers did not think that Kenny Pickett was going to be there at 20. I really don't. And I think it unfolded that way. And they said, you know what? This is the guy that we want. I'm interested to see the division of labor at training camp, because there's another situation where a quarterback is not going to get that vet day. You know what I mean? Like Ben used to get that vet day, but like now, unless somebody's getting a vet day, they're either hurt or it's not a good sign. So, you talk about watch and learn. It's the difference between the NFL and in college is so significant. It's so hard to even describe. And for your armchair QBs or people out there that be like, I could play in the NFL, or I could score a touchdown from the 1 yard line, or this, you get those Twitter questions. If if it was first and goal at the 1 and you got 4 tries, could you get it in? You would lose -8 yards at a minimum. So so Pickett is bright, and I'm not concerned about that at all.
Yeah.
But I mean, these guys it's still football. It's still football in shorts. Now it's football in shorts with giant helmets, and they actually decreased the amount of OTAs this year. It used to be 9, 10, and one of those was a team building day. And that's at the coach's discretion. And I'm a little surprised Tomlin did that, but I get it. This is, Tomlin's a football junkie, but I'm surprised he did it. But I also get it because minicamp's a week early this year. So, I mean, I think truly, and I know I've said I wish Deontay would have been at the first OTA sessions.
Sure.
But now it's crystal clear now that these are nothing more than just glorified, flag football sessions, especially early on. So that's why I'm interested to see what the division of labor is at training camp, because I don't know. Maybe they're just doing this as a disguise, and maybe Pickett's going to have a bigger role. But I'm still thinking he's going to be the third guy going into camp, sort of just like Ben was. And we talked about this. Ben was the third guy heading into training camp. And if it wasn't for an injury to injury to Batch first,
Charlie first. Yeah.
Ben probably would not have played that rookie year.
Yeah. Oh, man, the stars just aligned that year. They did.
Yeah,
Charlie going down.
Ben got promoted week 2 in camp.
Mm-hmm.
Then Badge came back, and they kept him at number 2. And then, Maddox got hurt second game. We know the rest.
Did by the way, what was the team building activity that Mike Tomlin did? Did they go see Top Gun? I don't know what they did.
No, I don't think they did one.
Okay, they didn't do one. Okay,
no, because there used to be you had 10 OTAs.
right?
It was 3 1 week, 3 the next, and there was 4. That Monday was all the seventh OTA was always a bonus day. We went bowling. We went to Dave and Buster's. Yeah.
Yeah, I just remember, Cowher used to take him to movies, and Tomlin did a little bit of that, and then he broke it out like you're talking about there. So, I tend to agree. I think the division of labor at training camp is going to be easily probably the most watched storyline going in. Who's running with the ones, who's even who's running with the twos, so to speak, and getting those opportunities. So and we'll continue to talk quarterbacks. Is there been another position that you're somewhat curious about going into training camp that you're interested in seeing how it unfolds?
The entire interior offensive line.
Okay, that's a fair answer.
I mean,
in particular, how it shakes out in terms of who that personnel is.
What the division of labor is there. I mean, I know what I would do, and they're not doing it. And I am not impressed with Mason Cole's tape, especially at center.
Mm-hmm.
I know he said he prefers to play center, but he's not an impressive center by any stretch.
Is it possible that James Daniel sees time at center?
Well, he's played center
at
points in his career,
yep.
So he could, but I think they want him to play right guard.
Yeah, I agree.
Which I don't entirely understand either. Yeah. So,
So you're watching that interior offensive line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Both
Brian,
guard spots, center, and, obviously we know who the tackles are going to be. That is what it is.
Yeah.
I expect, at least we'll be a little better at left tackle this year than we were last. Right tackle, I hope.
Scarps, what are you going to be watching?
I actually tweeted this earlier. I'm interested to see how. So, Naj alluded to a lighter workload this season, and I tweeted earlier that under Tomlin, the highest difference between RB1, which is pretty much Le'Veon and Najee,
right,
and the next closest running back. And the most was 2017 between Le'Veon and James Conner.
Right.
And it was like 374. And then last year was the second most between Naj and Benny Snell. And it was like 3 whatever.
Close. It was close.
It was close, but it wasn't as much. And so I'm interested to see sort of the division. I'm interested to see the division of labor and who they think is going to be their backup running back.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have no idea. I've seen Benny Snell football, and I don't think he's that type of guy that's going to be a Tony Pollard type that Tony Pollard stan over here, but I
love him too. I get it. Yeah.
I don't see Benny Snell being that. Anthony McFarland, no. I have no idea. I mean, he might be capable of things, and I just haven't seen it yet. But then they brought in some rookie free agents, and that's fine. But, God forbid Najee gets hurt because they have nobody else that can do that. But you could say that at a lot of positions. So, Ben, you're right. I agree that the division of labor and the interior offensive line. And then also what that means if a Mason Cole ever got hurt, does that mean Kendrick Green goes back to center? I think that it's fair to say, and I understand being a fan is being optimistic, but there are a lot of confident Steelers fans on Twitter that keep saying the NFL's sleeping on us.
Yep.
And and this
no,
and
it's
that,
not.
They get pissed off every time there's a ranking or a preseason ranking or prediction, and it's just like, you don't know, you're sleeping on us, and I'm just like,
June.
listen, don't be offended by anything right now. We'll see what happens.
Right. That's a good point.
And to me, the first 4 games,
5 games, 6 games.
Yes,
it's a it's a gauntlet.
Yes, and normally I would say the first 4 games just go 2-2. Just go 2-2. Just split. Who cares?
Sure.
What
Yeah.
happens?
And if they do this year, I'll be pleasantly surprised.
Happy. Yeah.
But if they start out like a 1-3, 0-4, which, and if you look at that schedule, don't tell me
it's not impossible.
No, they can start out. They can start out 1-5 very easily.
And then it's kind of like, okay, who is sleeping on who?
Yeah.
I wanted to mention too that Omar Khan, when he did his introductory press conference as the new GM, said that there would be some things done differently, and I don't know that I would call it an overhaul, but there's definitely more change in the scouting department than we've seen in recent years. Ben, what would you take from that, if there is anything to take from that? Is that just him putting his handprint on it?
Yeah,
or...
that's just him putting his handprint on it.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to term it as. We've talked about this before. This isn't going to come as a shock to anyone when I say it. Omar's not a film junkie. He's not a football guy.
Right.
And he's apparently trying to assert himself as one. So I'm not saying I question it. I just don't get it. I'm like, why? Why'd you do that? I mean, or did you sit down with Andy Weidel and you guys came up with this together? Okay. Then that's fine. He's your assistant GM and he's running the football side and the two of you came up with this and decided this is the way to go. Okay, great. Mm-hmm. But if you just decided to do it, why?
Yeah, I'm going to assume that there is a legitimate reason behind it. And until otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and assume that. We know what happens when we assume.
Yep.
But
if Kevin Colbert did it, I'd be like, oh yeah, there's a valid reason.
Yeah.
But with Khan, there's no history to go on. So you look at it and you go, okay, how come?
Yeah, no precedent. Yeah, I don't, Scarps, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I got a couple. Ben, I agree with you. I also think too that I think part of that deal might have been that Kevin got to sort of name his replacements as well. Because Kevin endorsed Andy, and then he worked with Sheldon
White
in Detroit. And then Omar hired his guy, Sadowski, I believe is his name, from the Bears.
Yes.
Okay. So I think there was a little bit of like, hey, I'm going to hire my own people, but Kevin was probably like, on my way out, I'm going to tell you who you should hire. So, but then, they lost Bruce McNorton. His nickname is Chili. Bruce, great guy, long-time scout.
Do we want to know why his name was Chili?
Actually, never. I actually don't know if I ever found out why. But he played in the league.
Yeah.
Valuable experience. Rick Reprish, another guy, was in the league a long time. And then here's, and I'm never going to know this, and I'm not going to ask. But actually, earlier today, Brandon Hunt. He was quiet on social, but the other day he posted like, "Hey, I'm going to the Eagles or whatever,"
mm-hmm.
and I've talked since I've left. I've talked to him on occasion, but I messaged him on Instagram. I was just like, "Hey, man, sucks it didn't work out, but like, dude, you were always great to me. You're great at what you do," and
mm-hmm.
And then. I mentioned, I did say, I was like, my mom says hello as well, because my mom used to work at a place that was the best burgers in the city. And the scouts used to go to that place. So she's known like Brandon and Whaley for a long, long time. So, and he right away got back to me. He's like, thanks, my man. Like, hope all is well, blah, blah, blah. And then today, his 2 sons who go to Pine Richland had Eagles jerseys on.
Oh, boy.
Basically, he basically just said, like, this is their last day at Pine Richland, and like, we're moving across.
Wow.
And I just felt like really, really bad about it. Not bad for him, but like, because he's going to be fine. Then it's just sad to see that. And I would love to be a fly on the wall to sort of understand how that all unfolded, because I don't understand how I'm not saying you have to promote Brandon to the GM level, but to not retain him to me is that's weird. There has to be something going on.
Is it possible they offered that opportunity and he was
and
like,
maybe they did. I guess my point being is that loyalty doesn't mean shit anymore at a company, whether it's the Steelers or any other place.
Maybe.
Because Brandon was there a long time. He left to go to Houston. He came back, and anyway. So I think they've lost valuable experience, but at the end of the day, it's just business.
It is. And speaking of business, I'd like to welcome Ian in, and who desperately wants to know where that burger place is, as his wife would love to know.
It was Caseros.
It was Caseros?
Yeah, she used to work Caseros in Bloomfield.
Oh, Caseros.
Yeah. Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Amazing. An Italian place in there.
It's not. It's an Italian name, but they're Hardwood Grill.
Hardwood Grill. Love it.
Yes.
Love it. Good stuff. Ian, we've talked a little bit about, what our expectations are for quarterbacks heading into training camp and who gets, divisional labor, that kind of stuff. We talked a little bit about, and I'll throw this question to you. I asked the guys, a position that they're interested in seeing how it shakes out. Ben talked a little bit about the interior offensive line, and Ryan talked a little bit about the backup running back spot. So I would offer that question up to you. What is a position?
Prediction.
Yes.
Ian goes D-line.
Okay. All right. Ian, your mic's not on or something.
Oh crap! There we go.
Oh,
Sorry.
there we go. Thank God.
It's year 3 of Zoom already, man.
I know.
Trouble averted.
So, long story short, I finally hooked up the surround sound that was in my house. Like the people that lived here before us installed it, and I just had never hooked it up. And so we finally hooked it up. But watching hockey with the surround sound on, it's booming all over the place. So I had my mic muted so that there wasn't all this background noise from watching the hockey game.
So you're watching the Rags?
Yes, unfortunately. But at any rate, Ben is right. I'm going D-line because most of the other positions are pretty much figured out, right? That you know who the starting receivers are going to be. You know the order of the tight ends. You guys already talked about quarterback. We've talked about offensive line a lot last week too. Ryan hit running back. The cornerback rotation's mostly set. We know who the starting safeties are. We know who the starting linebackers are. So what's that leave? Defensive line. And especially with Stephon Tuitt retiring, that there's a division of labor that's going to need to be figured out. You're going to have to fill probably 60 some snaps a game. And I was listening to the radio last week. I don't remember who it was, if it was Dale Lawley, Matt Williamson. One of those guys actually made a good point that one of the problems that the defensive line had last year was that you had guys essentially that got shuffled up the chain. So guys like Chris Wormley, who should be getting 15 to 20 snaps a game, were getting 40 to 60 snaps a game. And then guys like, Isaiah Loudermilk played okay, but Isaiah Loudermilk, who probably should have been getting 5 snaps a game in just spot duty, was getting 15 to 20 snaps a game. So everyone kind of had to get stacked up.
Henry Mondu.
Yes, was getting.
Hey, Mondu, go in there and pretend you're Stephon Tuitt.
Yeah, exactly.
Go do it.
Yeah. So right. He should be getting 0 snaps a game, and he was getting 7 to 10. So
even had a hat.
Yeah. The one encouraging thing though is I saw a tweet this week, and I know a lot was made about Najee Harris's weight, but did you see the weight numbers for Isaiah Loudermilk and DeMarvin Leal? They were Leal was at 283 at his pro day or at the combine, I think. Right. And then they said he was already up to 303 or something like that. And I know, playing weight, those guys lose weight throughout the season.
6'5" frame. Now, Mark can attest to this. 6'5" frame, Mark. What is 20 pounds? I mean, it's not a lot of weight.
No, and Ben Roethlisberger is the classic example. I mean, when people talk, oh my God, he was so thin when he came up. He was 235, 240.
He was 241 when he came out.
When he came out of college.
That weight never changed, by the way.
Never. Yeah, I mean, so it absolutely that's true. Ian, I'll let you finish your point.
Sorry.
Oh no, it's totally fine. Yeah, so that was pretty much my point, that those guys bulking up gives them a better shot at being able to just kind of hold their own on the interior. I mean, we talked about Liao's handwork. He's got a really nice spin move. But I think the concern with him playing that 5-tech position coming out of college was, did he have the bulk to just, hunker down and play against, 300-pound offensive linemen? But now if he's at least somewhat equal in size to them, we know he's got the handwork. He can, develop some more refinement in the rest of his
He's a good
game.
athlete.
Yeah. I'm not saying
For a
DeMarvin,
man that size, he's a good man, a good athlete.
Yeah, I'm not saying DeMarvin Leal's Stephon Tuitt, but like I said, you got to find 60 snaps a game. So maybe it's 20 for one guy, 20 for another guy, 5 here, 5 there. And the other thing that's going to make a huge difference is Tyson Alulu's health. Like, if he can stay healthy for the whole season, or at least a majority of it, or if I'll just put it this way, as long as he doesn't have a season-ending injury, because I don't think he's actually played a full season since he got here.
Yeah, he might have an injury here and there.
Yeah, but as long as it's not a season-ending injury, then that really helps the rotation too. Because you figure last year, not only were you replacing Tuitt snaps, but you were replacing Alulu snaps too. So there was a lot of shuffling that had to happen. So. And we had the 32nd ranked run defense last year, and a lot of that
the
was
run
on the
defense
line.
really fell off after Alu went out. So
and it's
if he can come back to form, which I'm not gonna say is a given. Guy's 35, he's coming off a broken ankle, but if he can return to form, I think that they've got a better situation than they had last year. And if he can't, then we're fucked. I'm sorry, Ian. Finish your point.
Kind of lost my train of thought there. I remember now. Yeah. I got it. That it's not just the defensive linemen making plays. They don't necessarily have to make plays. They just have to eat blockers so that the linebackers aren't just getting swallowed up all the time.
Yes.
And that was a big, like, Devin Bush could not get off blocks last year. It was a huge issue. Some of it was effort on Bush's part, that when he got blocked, he just kind of slowed up and didn't really fight through it. But some of it was when you only have to single team a defensive lineman and your guards and centers are getting free releases to the inside linebackers.
Huge difference.
It makes a big difference, as opposed to when you have a guy in the middle. Even when you just had Cam and Tuitt in a 2-man front, if both of those guys are demanding double teams, that's only one offensive lineman that has a free release. So it makes a big difference. So I'd say defensive line's my.
And I want to stay with the defense, but first I want to remind everybody we are proudly presented by Deck Roofing of South Florida. They serve Broward and the Southern Palm Beach counties, whether it's commercial, industrial, residential, multifamily, or condos. Contact Deck Roofing today by visiting deckroofing.com. And I admit I tried peanut butter whiskey last weekend.
How was it?
I wasn't that impressed. Although I will admit that I had just slammed about 23 fried perch fillets, so I was a little full.
Fried perch fillets.
Oh my God. Long story short, we had a little perch fry up at my folks the night before. My son's soccer team won the state cup this weekend. Sunday.
Congratulations.
Very nice.
Thank you. 3-1 victory. And so a lot of celebrating been going on around here. And so I figured, well, I need a shot of this peanut butter whiskey, and it's okay. I mean, believe me, I'm not giving up my regular whiskey for that. And it's got, I would say it helps if it's chilled as well.
Yes. It's all right.
You got to drink it cold. I mean, it's not
one glass of it, but you can't like drink it all night like you can with other ways.
Just get the airplane bottle.
Yes. Yeah. That's about it. What I wanted to talk about as far as the defense, though, is what is a realistic expectation of this defense? Because I think there's a lot of people, and again, you got to take it grain of salt because of social media, but a lot of people are talking about, well, geez, we look at what we've got at each level. You got Minka, you've got TJ, you've got Cam. Unfortunately, that's three guys out of 11.
No. And people keep saying that they keep talking about TJ as though he's a second level player, and he is sometimes. Sometimes he drops the coverage.
That's right.
But most of the time he's playing the front, just like Cam is. So, and that was the problem last year. Was you had you had a unit that was bereft of talent in the middle, except for Cam. They just ran around him.
Yeah,
just ran away from Cam.
Right,
and the whole middle of the field was open, no problems.
So, I guess what I'm getting at is it realistic to expect a massive improvement of this unit?
Hell yeah, but a massive improvement would be going from 32nd to 15th. Let's be honest, okay?
Right.
I'm speaking specifically to run defense.
Yeah,
because
I get it.
They weren't a bad passing defense last year at all. It's just it didn't fucking matter because they couldn't stop.
They still led the league in
run
sacks,
to save their lives.
Right. Yeah. I don't. Ryan, what do you? I mean, is Ben right? Just getting to like middle of the table would be a vast improvement.
It depends though, because there's a bunch of things I want to say. First of all, the only good quarterback they beat last year was Josh Allen in week 1, and week 1s to me or whatever, like it's a toss up. That segues into TJ Watt took over that game. So I tweeted this last week. Following a 20 sack season since 2000, only JJ Watt has gotten even close to the previous year's production. And Steelers Twitter told me, well, TJ Watt's going to have 30 sacks next year.
Oh, for God's
okay, sakes. So literally, I'm telling you,
we really should crowdsource the answer to that question.
Not even Aaron. So, and I get it. JJ Watt had a 20 sack season. He had 17 and a half the next year. Not even Aaron Donald, who I believe is Aaron Donald's not only the greatest defensive player in the league, he's the greatest player in the league right now. Didn't even come close to following that. So all of a sudden, you're expecting another 20 sack season from TJ. You're expecting another dominant performance from Cam. You're expecting another really good performance from Minka, and Minka played up in the box way too much.
He was your third linebacker, basically.
Led the team in tackles because the team. So there's
when your safety's your leading tackler, it's a problem.
Yes, it's not
there's
good.
a lot of variables in play here. So Ben, if they made it to 15th in rush defense, but also beat a good quarterback every once in a while,
I just want to see them be a respectable run defense.
So
respectable.
If they're respectable against the run, but they suck against the pass, is that okay?
No.
Okay.
And I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is I don't expect them to fall off against the pass. I think they'll still be pretty good. The problem they had last year was they allowed opposing offenses to sustain drives because they couldn't stop the run no matter what. It could be 3rd and 8.
First
Fuck
down,
it.
second down,
run the
third
ball.
down. Yep.
Run it between the tackles. 3rd and 8.
Yep.
First down. Oh my God. And it doesn't just affect you from the standpoint that you get fatigued. It affects your psyche.
Oh, it's demoralizing.
Yes. It's completely demoralizing. And you're like, oh fuck, man. We can't do a goddamn thing right now. We can't do anything right. And you start making more mistakes because you're trying to force it. You're trying to make something happen. You're trying to make a play.
But do you think, and I know, and I'm going to say this, messes with your head because the Steelers' mentality for years is stop the run.
Yeah.
Right? Is there enough vets on the defense that have played as Steelers that can convey that message to other players?
Ian, I'll throw that to you.
We're entering a new era here, right?
Yeah.
So you got your Cam and you got your TJ, and okay, Minka's been here long enough.
Yeah.
But the rest, I don't know.
Ian, who? I mean, I think it's a good question.
That's a very fair question. I actually had just a completely different answer to that question. So
philosophical to this evening.
Yeah, I know. And you bring a good point though about locker room leadership, but I think with Cam, I mean, Cam is the unquestioned locker room leader now with Ben retiring. I mean, it's unquestioned.
Yeah.
But I think, TJ and Minka kind of have to take those roles as well. But I was going to say that, you ask for what the defense needs to improve or what you want to see. My answer would be 21 points per game. That improve the scoring defense to 21 points per game. If
you give up 21 consistently, you're going to lose games.
Hold on. In 2020, they gave up 19.5 per game.
Okay, that's less than 20 points.
Yeah. Last year, they were at 23.4 and were the 22nd or 21st ranked team in scoring defense. Now, the reason I said 21 points per game, last year, only 6 teams held opponents under 21 points per game. That was Buffalo, New England, Denver, New Orleans, Tampa, and Tennessee. Everybody else was over 21 points a game. So basically, I'm saying I want them to be a top 10 scoring or top 7 scoring defense.
I think 4 of those 6 you mentioned made the postseason.
Yeah. Yeah.
Denver
was pretty close.
Orleans.
Yeah. New Orleans
did not. Yeah.
New Orleans missed out on a tiebreaker, though, I think, with Philly. So
they were
pretty close. Yeah. So yeah, basically I'm saying, I want to see them improve their scoring defense, specifically don't give up, hold teams to field goals instead of touchdowns.
So I would counter by looking at the offense and saying, how much do we trust the Steelers offense to score 21 points a game?
No.
I mean,
I do not. I know people are all kinds of excited about this embarrassment of riches they have at the skill positions. But if you don't have a quarterback that can deliver the ball to you, if you don't have an offensive line that can hold its blocks for 4 seconds, you can have all the talent in the world. It doesn't mean shit.
Right.
If the foundation of your unit is bad, your unit will be bad.
Because when Ian mentioned that number, I started seeing scores in my head, like losing games like 20-17, 21, 15, things like that. And I think he's right.
For the Steelers to have a shot at being at a winning record, and by this I mean 9 wins this year, they've got to hold opponents to less than 20 points, average per game.
Okay.
Average. Okay, like when they play the Jets, I don't expect them to give up 20. Okay, but when they play New England, I think they're probably going to give up 35. I mean,
I heard this. I heard it first from Hall of Famer Dick LeBeau, and then the late Tunch Ilkin. I heard it from him second, and they both said the other team got players and coaches that want to win too. And so for all Steelers fans right now that are feeling optimistic, every other team in this, I might be bold, but most of the other teams in this league got better. Right?
Yeah,
they got better,
right,
and they want to win just as much. So this schedule is tough. So we're not and this is and I know injuries happen and all that stuff, but we're not playing the Ravens last year with just Lamar Jackson as the running back, right? I'm expecting them to have a full slate of running backs. I'm expecting their defense to be back, or any division team, right? But even in the other teams on the schedule that you maybe beat last year, or you played last year and you almost won, or whatever you want to, whatever makes you sleep at night. Yeah. Those teams got better too. And of course they can have injuries and whatnot, but so could the Steelers. So I don't necessarily understand the optimism. And again, I know Ben was bad at times last year, but you can't replace that fucking competitiveness and winning
games at the end.
Know-how.
Yes,
know-how.
Sorry for the F word. That guy was first of the night, but I'm just you can't.
Fucking true.
He was
because I'm gonna tell you this right now. When has Mitch Trubisky won shit? Never. When has Kenny Pickett won shit? Never.
I will give I will give Mitch credit for this.
Even Mason.
He took the Bears to the playoffs twice, and that's a horrible, dysfunctional organization. And he did it, so I'll give him credit for it. But the man has not proven that he can throw to his left. Okay, for example. And if all you have to do is defend half the field, you have a huge advantage. Huge.
Yeah. Changes the whole thing for your defensive coordinator. Big time. Yeah.
It's like, why even cover that guy over there? He's not throwing the ball anyway. Who cares?
Yeah. Ian, go.
Just to add one point to something Ben said earlier. Last year, the Steelers were 9-0 in games where they held opponents under 20 or 21 points. They didn't give up 21 to anyone all year. So they gave up 20 to Seattle and won that game. So 2021, same thing. They were 9-0 with Ben at quarterback and 0-1 with Mason at quarterback. And so basically they didn't lose a game. They tied a game, but they didn't lose a game when they held opponents under 21 points last season.
Well, Mason's magic
and
number
that was
17 points.
And that was with
more
the
than
30,
that.
And that was with the 32nd ranked run defense. So what I'm saying is, if they improve the defense a little bit statistically, then
good point. Yeah,
because it's a year long average. It's not saying give up 21 every week. It's saying over the course of the year.
And I agree with that. But I think we've got to lower that number to 20 points per game, 19.9. Let's call it. All right.
Yeah.
That's where they need to be. They need to average that, giving up that or less if they have a shot at winning 9 games this year.
Yeah.
And that's barely a winning record. Barely.
Right. They're going 14-3. Relax.
Oh, for God's sake.
Dude, they're going 20-0. Haven't you been on Steelers Twitter lately?
Yeah, you're right.
I mean, and I think let's call a spade here that, especially after Alu got hurt and some other guys, in 4 out of their last 8 games, they gave up over 35 points. They gave up 41 to the Chargers, 41 to the Bengals, 36 to the Vikings, and 36 to the Chiefs, and then 42 to the Chiefs in the playoff game. So 5 out of their last 9 games, they gave up 35 plus. So, yeah, I mean,
Yeah. And on that note, let me remind everybody that we are part
That's
of
why
Pigskin
when Adam
Podcast
Crowley
Network.
tweets, the Steelers defense has got so much talent this year that if they're anything less than a top 5 unit, Mike Tomlin should pay the ultimate price. I'm like, dude, shut the fuck up. All that talent was terrible at defending the run last year. Terrible.
We'll come back to that in a second. Hey, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. Use promo code TPPN. Make any $5 bet during the NBA Finals and get $150 in free bets instantly. That's promo code TPPN only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NBA. That's right. Yeah, what's that? 2-1 right now in favor of Boston. I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
Scarp broke off to get a brew.
It just looks like the Celtics are the better team. I mean, it really does. Those guys are playing. They're playing really well as a team. They're all hustling. They're all busting their asses.
Looks
to me like Draymond Green, for example, is getting ready to do his podcast.
I think Draymond's getting ready to call it a career.
He just the guy is half-assing it and then complimenting his opponents. Man, they just play so hard. I'm so impressed. How about if you played hard, motherfucker?
That's been our basketball segment here on the Steel City Blitz podcast. I did want to I mentioned this earlier, and what would the Steelers QB battle have looked like in the social media world back when Ben was a rookie? You had Tommy, you had Charlie, and you had Ben drafted 11th overall in the first round of the 2004 draft. What would social media have been like back then, Ian?
I'm jumping on this one because here's what it would have been.
Okay.
Maddox had that great playoff game against Cleveland where he brought us back. They went to the Tommy gun offense and went 6-10.
Yep.
People didn't want Tommy, but people loved Charlie Batch because he was from Pittsburgh.
Everybody loves Charlie. Yeah.
Even after Ben started, even after Ben went 15-1 his rookie year, when he was struggling like a couple years later, well, maybe we should start Charlie Batch. There were calls like that on the radio. Yep. People would have wanted Charlie to be the starter, Ben to be the backup, and Maddox to get cut. And that's just what it would have been.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Yeah, I agree.
So, are you making a comparison in a roundabout way to Kenny Pickett?
Well, Kenny Pickett's from Pitt, and like I've said before on this show, there's a large segment of Steelers Twitter that are also Pitt fans and think that everything that came out of the University of Pittsburgh shit's gold. And there's one radio host in the city who I won't name who's all in on that same narrative.
He's going to make me hate Kenny Pickett.
I'm just saying.
Well, that's the shame of it. You won't be the only one.
Pickett's his own person. I
think so too.
Yeah, no, and I'm kind of excited.
And the aforementioned radio host is a fucking giant douche canoe.
He's really not. I promise you, he's not.
But
he really wants to be perceived as one. He's working his ass off to be perceived as a total jackass.
There's a difference between knowing you're a heel and not knowing but trying to be.
Where does he fall?
So what he's trying to do is compete with Mark Madden?
I don't know if it's necessarily that.
No, what he does is he tweets the dumbest possible shit to get the most clicks and engagement, and then he sells it to CBS and is like, look at all the engagement I get on Twitter. You should give me a national show. And they fucking gave him a national show. What the hell is wrong with them? Yeah.
That guy's got a national show.
This is the guy you called Pitt Bayless. They gave him a national show?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
Wow.
Anybody can just anyway. I did want to mention Deshaun Watson. Look, karma is a bitch. And for many years, Cleveland Brown fans have come at the Steelers because of Ben Roethlisberger's
specifically
issues.
Steelers fans.
Absolutely. And now all of a sudden, the Cleveland Browns have a quarterback who is mired in a shitstorm, to put it mildly. And I mean, I'm reading stuff, and I'm sure you guys have seen interviews and read stuff as well. I mean, there's people based on this New York Times article about the, 66 different massage therapists over 17 months. And I mean, there's people that think he might not play for a year or two. I don't know that I'm going to go there. In fact, I don't know where to go, but do you smile at all being a Steelers fan, seeing Brownie fans struggle like this?
No, I call them a bunch of dumb fucks.
Well, that's also an option. Yeah.
And I mean, honestly, they're either in denial, or they were hypocritical to begin with because they talked a bunch of shit before
for years.
And they got a guy now who literally has 12 times as many accusations, and they're defending him.
Yeah.
Okay, but just getting back to that, because you went here, so
I did.
Gonna lay it all out.
Do it.
This fucking guy. I mean, this is totally normal behavior if you're Harvey Weinstein, but this fucking guy, over 17 months, booked 66 different masseuses through Instagram. This is where he went looking for his massage therapists. Okay. This is predatory.
Yes.
Weinstein, Cosby type behavior. I argue with somebody fucking else. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what this is. He was looking for, best case, he was looking to exploit the power dynamic and get some easy sex. Worst case, he was looking for victims that he could exploit who wouldn't say anything.
And many have not.
And he'd get away with it.
Yeah.
Okay. 24 women have come forward and thrown accusations at him and are suing him. Okay.
Yep.
Statistically, fewer than 8% of sexual assault complaints are fabricated. 8%. Do I believe that all the women who are accusing Deshaun Watson are telling the truth? No, I do not. Do I believe they're all lying? Fuck no.
Yeah.
Use some goddamn common sense, okay?
Some of them have been pretty convincing so far in their comments too.
Use some fucking use some common goddamn sense. You're adults. Stop defending this fucking scumbag.
And at the same time, the Cleveland Browns gave him what, $230 million guaranteed?
Yeah, well, see, what the Cleveland Browns didn't do is what the New York Times actually did is went ahead and investigated what happened. Okay,
Yeah.
And if they had, maybe they wouldn't have been so fucking stupid as to give up 3 first-round picks and give the guy $230 million fully guaranteed. My prediction, and you already know it, because I've told all of you this, my prediction is that eventually what the Browns will do is they will say, well, events have come to light that we were not aware of and that Deshaun was not upfront about. He did not disclose before we signed the contract, and we're going to void his guarantees, and we're going to cut him. And then he'll sue them, of course, and it'll be in court, yada, yada. This will go down as the worst trade in the history of the NFL ever.
Yeah.
Maybe professional sports.
Maybe.
It could. Yeah, it's a good point. That's all I really wanted to cover on it. I obviously it's going to be a sensitive issue because of the subject matter and stuff, and I'm sure it's all going to keep coming out, and it just doesn't look good. So let me switch it over to something much more fun and entertaining. In our messaging channel, a couple of the 2 people out of the 4 on here apparently think that we need to replace Renegade. Is that what I saw?
I gotta get a beer. Hold on a second.
First of all, these 2 are dumbasses. Renegade should not be replaced ever. It's ours. Let's just leave it alone. But apparently they feel it necessary to offer our listening public the opportunity to hear their options of what could replace it. Now, I will say this. We did have a listener last week that commented because we talked about best hair bands, I believe it was last week.
Best rock songs last week. We did hair band a few weeks ago.
Yeah, and somebody chimed in with, I believe it was Metallica and Maiden, and I haven't commented back, but
Metallica and Maiden aren't classic rock yet.
Exactly. They are very near and dear to my heart, but they are not.
Are they playing them in the grocery store?
No. So I agree.
No, I've never heard Sympathy. No, I've never heard Symphony of Destruction at Giant Eagle.
It's a good segue.
Hey, the Pied Piper often leads me right down the cereal aisle, baby.
All right. So here's what I'll say. Okay. I am completely for keeping Renegade. I think it's fun. I think it's a Steelers thing.
Okay.
It's our thing. The song fits very well, that it's got the slow opening that you can kind of get yourself revved up.
Yes.
It's got the scream that gets you hyped. It's got singable lyrics that no matter how drunk you are, you can belt them out. But when the topic got broached of if it was replaced, I did make a list of songs that I would consider to replace it with.
And I'm gonna preface all of this by kind of agreeing with Mark, and then I'm gonna let you 2 do your thing. I've been present for Renegade being played. Obviously, it's a magical moment. We all fucking love it. I wouldn't get rid of it, but I do understand the motivation behind doing so because Styx sucks. Styx is fucking terrible. By the way, not from Pittsburgh. They're from Chicago. Guys, go ahead.
They are, and I'll just say too, we've all been in that stadium when they've played it, and it is
magical.
It's magical. It is an amazing feeling to wave the towel when that song plays, and that I'll just leave it at that. So, Ian and Ryan, give us your options for what would potentially replace what won't ever be replaced. He's got a fucking sheet. Look at Scarpino. Jesus Christ.
He comes prepared. So Ryan and I did agree on a couple things here leading up to this. That we weren't gonna choose songs that meant something to another team.
Yeah, you can't.
We weren't gonna pick Enter Sandman because that's Virginia Tech.
Exactly.
Or we weren't gonna pick Welcome to the Jungle because that's the Bungles thing.
Right.
So all right. Go ahead, Ryan.
Oh, what the fuck? All right, no, fine. Okay, first of all, I'm going to say this. I didn't like Renegade before I worked at the Steelers. I've never liked Renegade. I've never liked Renegade as a song. I think it sucks. Wow. But I do appreciate and understand what it means to the Steelers. That being said, it was played 2002 wild card game against the Browns before Ben. But now that Ben's retired, I feel that the Renegade era is over.
Wow.
And we can rebrand and utilize younger guys like TJ and Najee, and obviously Cam because he's still here.
Yeah.
So that being said, I wrote about 37,000 songs down on a piece of paper, but I'm not going to hit you with my top one, but I'm going to hit you with War Pigs by Black Sabbath.
Not a bad choice. I think Ian laid out the qualities of Renegade very well. That it's got a build up, it's got a scream, and then it just comes at you.
Yeah. Have you ever heard War Pigs?
I have.
I'm just saying.
No, that's why I'm saying I can see why you would go with that.
Oh, okay. My bad. My bad, Steel Dad. I apologize. I'm already defensive.
No. I get it. I'm not saying it's a bad choice.
Ryan?
I'm just saying I get why it would fit.
I don't know.
I will fully admit that my list was like half Metallica songs, but Metallica has a lot of songs like that, like Battery, like For Whom the Bell Tolls, which is the superior song with bells in it.
That would be fantastic.
Yes, it would be. I think it'd be awesome.
And let's see what else. I mean, Master of Puppets is just a straight up banger. It's like Master of Puppets is great.
Too commercialized, probably.
But
though.
Yeah, probably. The other one from Metallica I'll mention is a more recent one. All Nightmare Long has a great chorus. It's off the Death Magnetic album, which was like the one they finally remembered what they sounded like in the 80s when they made it in like the mid 2000s. But all right, Ryan, I threw some out there.
Me?
Yeah. Hit me with some more. Let's go.
And we talked about this earlier on the chat as well. I don't necessarily know if our religious listeners would be okay with Hell's Bells, but I'm picturing bong, fucking TJ Watt, bong, Cam Hayward, bong,
LeGarrette Blount, bong.
Yeah, that too.
That's why I said For Whom the Bell Tolls, because it's the better song with bells.
I think so too.
It's like, I'm just saying, Hell's Bells.
It's a good choice.
Okay.
I will say they have played Hell's Bells like during games.
They have,
but they don't have the video to go with it.
And the official anthem.
Yeah.
Now, just
and there are some other songs that they have played during games that I put in like an honorable mention list, like "Bleed It Out" by Linkin Park, "Crazy Train" by Ozzy, "Boom" by POD.
You can't do "Crazy Train." The Patriots play that. Fuck that.
Yeah, it's true. "Thunderstruck" they've played like before games.
That's huge.
Crazy Train they play right before the kickoff too. So like some of those ones have been used, at other points.
Just to put this in there, Miss Ellie, who needs to get back on the show, she suggested Back in Black.
Yeah, what the fuck, Ellie?
Whenever we do the Color Rush uniforms, which I thought was a good touch.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, for the announcements, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Before they come out.
Yeah.
Absolutely outstanding.
Yeah.
All right. I got a top 5. Ryan, you want to do a top 5?
Go for it. Do it.
Whatever, man.
All right. Number 5. Well, all right, fine.
Hurry up.
All right. Number 5, When Worlds Collide by Power Man 5000. Maybe that's a little bit of me playing Tony Hawk Pro Skater 2 when I was but it's got a good like screaming chorus that you can bang to. Yeah. The other thing I took into consideration here is this is a defense song, right? You ain't
playing this when the offense comes out.
Right. If you play like For Those About to Rock, some offensive team's going to get pumped up too. So like, we're going to go out here and rock it, right? You want like songs like We're going to fucking destroy you. So Damage Incorporated by Metallica was my number 4 because that's a We're Gonna Fucking Destroy You song.
Yes.
Jesus.
Okay, so Ryan, what are your 5 and 4?
Okay.
I mean, this is I'm on the spot right now.
Yes.
You know what? Number 5, it's slow and it builds up, and we don't have to play the whole one. In the Air Tonight by Phil Collins.
Oh
yeah, that's a Mike Tomlin locker room classic.
For sure.
I think not so much heavily offensive, but more like I can feel it. If I was on defense, I would.
That was
smack some. I mean, like seriously. I mean, like take somebody's head off. All right, so
that
5
was the theme to the highlight tape of my high school highlights. Yeah.
4. I'm gonna throw a curveball here. Okay.
Okay.
And I'm gonna say a little lesser known.
Oh God.
Thunder Kiss 65 by White Zombie.
Oh yeah, actually, I love that idea.
Okay. All right.
Lesser known.
I like the lesser known.
I'm like Beavis and Butthead right now. I'm horrible.
Ian, give me your 3 and 2.
3 was Boom by POD.
Okay.
They've used it before, but they could.
It's
if you're putting together a defensive highlight reel, the boom, here comes the boom. I mean, you can feel it, right?
I think they used that in Adam Sandler's Longest Yard too.
Yeah. And my number 2 was my highest ranked Metallica song, which was "Seek and Destroy" off their initial Kill 'Em All album.
Yeah,
which would be a great defensive song.
Yeah,
it would be. Yeah, I agree. Ryan, what's your 3 and 2 there?
3, and they already do this. They already do this there, but it'd be a full montage. But 3 would be "Working Man" by Rush.
No.
Didn't they do Working? They tried to make like a Ben offensive highlight reel with Working Man.
Nah.
Yes,
at one
they've
point
done
in
it
time.
before, but I'm talking like full.
Yeah.
Nah.
All right, this isn't popular. Well,
okay, that's all right. That's what we're here for. Why we're doing this?
2 is Hell's. 2 is going to be Hell's Bells.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. AC/DC. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, Ian. And then what was your number 1?
Nightmare by Avenged Sevenfold.
Okay, I'm going to plead ignorance. I've heard of them, but I don't know the song.
All right. It builds up. It's got a banging chorus.
It almost might not be commercial enough.
Yeah.
Not enough people
would know it. Yeah. But it's, I mean, the chorus is like, I'm your fucking nightmare, basically.
Yeah.
It would be a great song for a defense. Go listen to it and you'll be ready to run through a wall.
Yeah.
All right. I will.
It's a good gym song. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. Oh, got it. Perfect. What's the name of the song again?
Nightmare.
Got it. All right, Scarps, you're number 1.
It would never fly for a variety of reasons, but
Luke
Balls to the Wall by Accept.
Balls to the Wall.
I heard it today. I'm serious. I love it.
That is so cliche, but all right.
All
right. Well, I'm only going to make one suggestion, and it's never, ever going to happen because I don't think it's a clean version of this song. But Coolio, Fantastic Voyage.
Listen, I'm trying.
Is that for the offense or the defense?
Doesn't matter.
I don't think I picked a song. I don't think I picked a song that's younger than 35 years old. But I was trying to think of some younger tunes like to get the people involved. So I came up with BYOB by System of a Down.
That's a good one. That's a very good choice. Yeah.
And then I'm not gonna lie. I thought about Tub Thumping by Chumbawamba.
You're kind of reminding me of that Joe Piscopo skit from Saturday Night Live when he says he's doing Frank Sinatra and he says, "I want to make tunes the young people will enjoy," and I'm gonna call the album "Tunes the Young People Will Enjoy."
I will also say too, it's overplayed, but because we got Three Rivers, "Smoke on the Water."
Smoke on the Water.
Yeah, a little Deep Purple
intro.
Yeah.
And I know the other one. They play this in the stadium because I've heard it, but Painted
slower
Black
tempo.
Stones.
Yeah,
Painted Black would be.
I like it, but they've played
Painted Black would be pretty okay. I think.
Yeah. I mean,
but
it's got
it might only resonate with me. I don't know that it would with everybody.
Me.
No, I like Painted Black, and the thing is, like, they've got a pretty good mix of like in-game music for the most part.
They do. I think they do.
But I think picking the one song to be like the anthem, and I would like to see the offense have a song too, but I didn't make a list for
why.
It'd be, I don't know, like when you really need a drive in the fourth quarter, like play something when the offense is coming out. It would be.
What about an uplifting song by Bret Michaels?
No,
Nothing but a good time.
Yeah, what about an uplifting song by Donnie Irish?
Donnie Irish.
I'm telling you, Balls to the Wall. Can you imagine Yinzers drunk out of their mind?
I can.
I
can. What are you talking about? What are you talking about?
You know,
there are no drunk yinzers
That's
at
what I
the
listened to
stadium.
pulling out of the school
There are
parking
no
lot.
drunk yinzers at the stadium or on Sundays. That never happens.
Actually, I would throw out.
Yeah.
I would throw out "Kickstart My Heart" by Motley Crue because could you
yeah.
imagine the whole stadium screaming like "Whoa, yeah"?
That's
like
true.
when the
That's a
offense
good
is
one.
coming out.
Yeah.
Like for the offense, that would be a good one.
Hey, Gina told me Lee was in that movie with Pam. Yeah, I seen it. I seen it.
We've
terrible.
officially gone off the rails, everybody. We're just about out of time here on the SCB
Crazy Train.
Steelers
Crazy Train's
Podcast,
good.
presented by Deck Roofing Incorporated of South Florida. And hey, go Steelers!
And hey, Ravens suck.